Hey, what's happening, guys? Thank you for tuning into Rules for Rebels. In today's video, I have an idea that might be able to make you some money, put a couple bucks in your pocket, and hopefully this will get you kind of thinking about making money online in a little bit of a different way than maybe the traditional things that we see online a lot. So you may have heard the phrase, want to make $1 million, solve 1 million people's problems. I mean, at the root of it, entrepreneurship, business, and making money is all about finding pain points or finding problems that people have and solving those problems, and you will be rewarded with money. Now, one thing I see from a lot of people I talk to online, and even that I run into myself a lot, is you're really inspired, you're really motivated, you're ready to work hard, you really want to throw yourself and your time and your attention, your energy into something, but you don't really know what to do. You don't really know what to get started. And because of this, I think people start searching online and you start seeing like drop shipping, AliExpress drop shipping, Shopify stores, and it's like everybody winds up going into these same couple things. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with e-commerce or starting a Shopify store. It's what I do. It's a great business, but I want people going into that because they have a great idea, because they see a need in the marketplace that's not being met, because they think their skill sets would lend to having success in that area. I want people to go into that because it's something that they want to go into, not just because I want to start something and that seems like the easiest route or that's what everybody else is doing. And another thing I think is a lot of people, I think, seem to think in order to make money or do something, it has to be something huge. You know, you have to start the next Facebook. And a lot of times it's the smallest little things that you can do that either are going to turn into something bigger, are going to springboard into something else. So I hope that this video maybe gives you guys some ideas and maybe gets you thinking about making money online in a different way. So I got a little story to share about kind of how I found a pain point. I don't know if I'm going to do anything about this, but you guys could either copy this idea or maybe put a different spin on it in your own city. So I really enjoy paddleboarding. Whenever I go to Lake Michigan, I'm out at Lake Michigan most weekends. I like to rent paddle boards. You know, my folks were living down in South Carolina for about 5 years. Whenever I went down there, I'd always rent paddle boards, either go out on the ocean or the little intercoastal waterways and things like that. And it's a lot of fun. So I decided I wanted to get my own paddle board. So did a little bit of research. Finally found one on Costco that I wanted. I actually wanted a hard paddle board. I wound up opting for an inflatable just because I didn't feel like dealing with the roof racks and everything. So got my paddleboard last week. I'm like all anxious to get out and go use it, right? And by the way, if anyone's interested in paddleboarding or whatever, or thinking about getting one, I wound up getting the Body Glove Performance 11, which is an inflatable paddleboard at Costco, $3.99. Really good deal. It comes with a pump, a bag. It folds into a little backpack, so you don't need a roof rack and all that jazz. I haven't actually used it yet, but you know, so far I was pretty impressed with it. Blew it up and everything. Anyhow, really wanted to use it last week, couldn't get out on the lake. Normally I go out to Southwest Michigan, like Bridgman, Stevensville area, but this Friday I'm taking the day off. I got to be back later in the afternoon, so I don't want to go that far out. So I'm just going to go out in Lake Michigan just off of Chicago. Now, I started looking into places of like where I could drop my paddleboard in, where you're allowed to paddleboard, where to find parking. And well, there's a couple resources out there. There's a site called paddling.com, which is like basically a big map of any area, and there's little like red dots or plotter points wherever there's waterways. But the site itself doesn't really provide any information about like if you're allowed to paddleboard there, where to park, if you need to wear a life raft. There's basically no information, and it's left to a comment section for people like you and me who've been there to comment and say, oh, this place is cool, here's where to do this. But there's not a whole lot of good information on there. Now, Chicago Park District lists all the different beaches, and they have a couple boathouses and things like that. But again, not really great information. What I was kind of hoping to stumble upon was like somebody's blog or Reddit post or something like that, where people were like, oh, you know, you can drop in over at 49th Street Beach. There's parking on the southwest side of 49th Street. You can park for $12 here. You don't need to wear a life raft. There's no life. You know, I was looking for information like that. You know, here's where you drop in on the left side of the pier or whatever. And there's really no information out that like there. So pretty much I'm just going to have to go out there kind of blind, drive around, which is kind of a pain in the butt in Chicago traffic, especially like downtown around the Loop and stuff, and basically find an area and then try to find a place to park and then just go try to drop in somewhere. But it would be nice if there was some information out there. So I thought, you know, it would be cool if if I'm looking for a place of where to paddleboard in Chicago, I'm sure other people are as well. What if you set up just a simple little website and provided some of that information so I could go out and start hitting up different Chicago beaches? I could walk along the Chicago River and try to find places on the river where you can drop. And Chicago River is a really, really cool place to paddleboard because you're going right down the Chicago River. You're seeing all the street activity going on. You're seeing all the buildings and all the architecture. They actually have some pretty cool kayak and paddleboard tours on the Chicago River. It's filthy though. Make sure you don't go in the water. But anyhow, like what I was looking for again was like, you know, somebody to post all the information as well as like pictures. So when I'm driving down there, I can be like, oh yeah, I remember seeing it in a picture. I park over here. I go drop in over here. So it would really cost me almost nothing to go kind of explore some of the different spots on Lake Michigan and the Chicago River where I could jump in, write a blog post about the different areas, or put up a map with little plot points of where you can drop in. I could mention things like where to park, how much parking costs, if you need to be wearing a life vest, where exactly you should drop in with a photo of that area, anything to be aware of in terms of areas with rocks and things like that. And I'm sure a lot of people would get a lot of use out of that. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, you know, I want to do something bigger than just starting a blog. Like, that's just a blog. Well, you could monetize that blog with affiliate marketing ads for different paddle boards. You could recommend some paddle boards. You could do some reviews. You could run AdSense on there, so it's serving ads based on the content on your site. Or if somebody's been searching for something, it will remarket to them. And, you know, if somebody was looking for patio furniture in the morning, even though you're there on your paddleboard, or if somebody was looking for lawn furniture in the morning, even though they're on your site about paddle boards, they'll still be showing lawn furniture, and they may go back and buy that. That's called retargeting, which is like AdWords or AdSense showing people things that they've previously been searching for. But it can also grow into something bigger. So if you guys remember Side Hustle Tuesday, we talked about the girl who started the dating site, or the dating profile consulting service or optimization service. And well, that business only made $800 and wasn't in itself a huge success. It wound up landing her a job where she learned copywriting and marketing, which wound up springboarding into her starting her own like marketing, branding, consulting business. And she's worked with the likes of like BuzzFeed and Girls Inc. So it grew into something a lot larger. So with this like paddleboarding idea, maybe you just start out with like a content or an informational type site, but maybe you start driving a lot of traffic. You start making a lot of affiliate sales of paddleboards or boating related items. And then it might make sense to, well, you know, I'm making I've sold $20,000 in paddle boards for ISUP or Amazon or whoever else. I wonder if I could source these things myself and sell direct to consumer and make the bigger margins as opposed to just making a percentage of somebody else's sale. And that could springboard into you starting a company selling paddleboard leashes, GoPro mounts, paddleboard straps, roof racks. You know, it could really lead into much bigger stuff. So, you know, don't always think that you have to have this huge idea right from the start. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of side hustles. Is you can start small, you can start cheap, you can start easy. You kind of vet your idea and let it either grow and transition into something else, or maybe it kind of leads you to another idea, and all the while you're learning valuable skills and things like that. So that's kind of really all I got for you guys today. If any of you guys happen to be from Chicago and know of a good spot to drop my paddleboard in, let me know. This is probably a stupid question, but it's not one I see people answering online. So I saw one guy, must have been some blog or something, and he talked about where he dropped in the Chicago River, and he's like, yeah, I drop in off of the steps by, I forget what it was, he mentioned a street, and inflatable paddleboards come in a bag and you got a pump. So if you don't want to be carrying that on your boat all day, or on the paddleboard all day, you got to leave it somewhere. So he says, oh, I leave it on the steps. And what I was really interested in knowing is, obviously, if you go on a lake, you go paddle around, you come back to the shore where you took off from. If you are on a river, obviously you're going to start at one point and it's going to take you somewhere entirely different. So what I was kind of curious about is, again, this is probably a stupid question, but if I start at point A and I finish at point B, which might be miles away, how do I get back to point A? Like, obviously with an inflatable paddleboard, you can roll it up, but still, some taxi drivers, some Uber drivers may not want you putting it in their car or whatever else. So that's kind of one other thing that would be a pain point that could be answered on this site. But you know, not everything has to start big. Look for pain points in your own life. Look for a lack of information or a lack of product. that you would need or you would want, and try to fill that pain point. You know, with this example, if you guys are from Chicago, you can copy this idea directly and run with it. But maybe you're from, you know, another city. Maybe you're from Minneapolis. Maybe you're from some area in Florida, whatever. You could replicate the same idea down there. What other hobbies do you have that you had a hard time getting started in, or had a hard time finding a place to do them? These are all great jumping off points where you can solve people's pain points or solve people's problems. So just a little bit of a rambling video today. I figured we'd wrap a little bit on my way into the office. I'm going to get running. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.